Hey, everybody, welcome to this study. As what we are focused on is in the book of Revelation, you have this voices of God in heaven, in which there is earthquake, shaking, the trembling that goes on. It's a very ominous picture. There's lightning involved. Earthquake comes in other parts. But what you have to do is overlay those events and see what it's talking about. And that's what we are looking at. And you'll notice the context is the throne room. Something is going on in the throne room in which God is talking and he's communicating with angels and he is giving direct declarations. This is so important for us to understand because really the Bible unveils the mystery of that. We shouldn't go into speculation when we don't have to, and we shouldn't. Prophecy, not subject to private interpretation and the fanciful imaginations of men's hearts, no matter how sacred they want to make it sound. Every pagan does that. But what does it mean to pay attention to the sign language of the book of Revelation and understand that there is Old Testament definition of these events so we could rightly interpret in the light of the person of Jesus Christ? He's the centerpiece. He is the culminating center point of the entire book of Revelation. Everything constellates around Christ. And we're here to understand his work in the heavenly sanctuary ministration, in which the entire book of Revelation is context in the sanctuary and his mediation up in heaven. As you can see, all the furniture pieces, all the nodding and languaging towards the temple libations, and all of the sanctuary kind of literary and, you have the pictures of, right? You have the 7-branch candlestick, you have the mercy seat, you have the altar of incense, you have the 7 bowls, you have all of these illustrations from the sanctuary. So that's the context. And it's trying to give us vision and understanding, for it should not be a mystery to God's people. That's promised in the Bible, that God will not veil himself in mystery. God is here to apocalyptos, to lift the veil and to give us clarity and understanding. But we have to look at the Old Testament in the light that it is foretelling of the person and the work of Christ. If you do that, no need to speculate, should not to speculate. There's never need to speculate. So right now we're still parked in chapter 4. We're still looking in this section of the sanctuary where Christ is enthroned. You have the angel party around him. You have the 24 elders in the human ministration that is there. 24 elders represented by 2 at each gate, has 2 witnesses for those who are entering in. Very Levitical. It has to do with the cycles of ministry that was set up in the Davidic kingdom, etc. So it's very important that we kind of get our eyes and our understanding fixed in a biblical context. Now, what we're still focused on, this is kind of the part 2 of the sea of glass. But what I'm going to hint towards is we looked at the sea of glass that was crystal. It was a calm sea. It was placid. It was not a turbulent sea. It certainly wasn't mingled with fire in chapter 4. And I'm trying to contrast what you see, the sea of glass in chapter 4. And when we get to chapter 15 of Revelation, we're going to go a little deeper into it, but we're going to still look at the difference when the sea of glass is mingled with fire and it becomes a boiling pot. I should have put that verse in there that talks about making Jerusalem a boiling pot. And you will see it is for the revelation of men's hearts. It's to bring everything up to the surface, right? You boil something and all the certain elements just bubble up to the top, and it gives a layer of whatever comes to the top. Scrape off the scum, scrape off the lard, scrape off whatever, but it becomes a boiling pot, and you're going to see it's going to be the revelation of hidden wickedness. Hidden wickedness. And God's going to bring everything that was hidden to light, out of the open. Now, before we get into the verses, the one thing I really do want to share, and I think it's important to share in the age in which we're in, is the spirit of this world now is, in which Satan is definitely the band leader, is to be terrified of exposure, to go into panic mode and to do everything that you can in a desperate spirit and attitude to cover up, to just survive the destruction of your image at the time. This ministry and the Word of God cannot be any more against that mentality than one can possibly be. Why? Because that's what God uses to get you and I to access the work of Christ in the heavenly sanctuary so that we can be covered on the Day of Atonement. This is essential for us. So it is important that we do understand. It says right here, nobody's watching. I have this terrible, terrible feeling that this is not recording anything. So let's start all over again and let's see what's going on. So, guys, I'm going to assume nobody is watching, and we're going to go ahead and start all over again, which is like too bad.